Hello everyone, welcome back to another stitch tutorial. I'm Crystal from Yarn Creations and thank you for joining me today. So in this tutorial we are going to learn the bean stitch. So I have quite a few samples here. I'm working on some rectangular shaped face scrubbies to put up on my store. I've actually been posting on Poshmark lately. So if you're in Canada or the US and are not sure of what Poshmark is, make sure you go and check that out. There's lots of clothing on there, home decor, you know, you name it. You can pretty much find it on Poshmark. So the bean stitch has a very similar look to the Elizabeth stitch. As you can see, it kind of has that slanted little cluster of stitches, except for these ones, there's more of them and they kind of, you know, go back and forth when you're changing from row to row. Very simple stitch. You're just basically doing, you know, yarning over and creating just a cluster of yarn throughout the row. So I'm gonna get started and show you how to do the bean stitch. So I have already gone ahead and done a chain of 16, and then I did 15 single crochet across the chain, starting from the second chain from the hook, which will give you your 15 single crochet. So to start the next row, this is when we're going to start incorporating the bean stitch. So we're going to chain 1. So to start at the beginning, in the very first stitch there that you see at the bottom, right where my finger is there, or I'll point to it with the hook, we're going to go in and we're just going to do a single crochet. And then in the next stitch, we're going to insert our hook into the stitch. We're going to yarn over, we're going to pull up a loop. Then we're going to yarn over, go back into the same stitch and pull up another loop. And then we're going to yarn over, back into the same stitch again, pull up a loop. So we now have 6 loops on our hook. So we're going to yarn over and pull through all 6 loops. And then we do a chain 1. So now we're going to skip a stitch. So we're going to skip the next stitch there. We're going to move into the next one and we're going to repeat the same process. So we're going to insert our hook into the stitch. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. And then we're going to yarn over again and go into the same stitch and pull up another loop, yarn over, back into the same stitch and pull up a loop, so that we have 6 loops on our hook. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. And once again, we're going to skip a stitch and then we are going to go into the next stitch. We're going to insert our hook, yarn over to pull up a loop. Then we're going to yarn over, go back into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Once more, yarn over, back into the same stitch, yarn over, and pull up another loop, so that we have 6 loops on our hook. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. Sometimes I find it, when you're working with cotton, and I think too with like the hooks that don't have a very sharp end, they're very blunt, it sometimes is harder to work with them when you're doing like cluster stitches like that. All right, and then we're going to chain 1. Okay, so we're just going to repeat that same process all the way across the rest of the row. I'm going to pause the video here and I'll keep working away at that, and we will come back when we get to the very last couple stitches. Okay, so we're at our last 3 stitches here. So we're going to once again skip a stitch, and we're going to do our last bean stitch into there. And then we chain 1. So we're going to have that final stitch there at the end. We're just going to finish off by doing a single crochet into that last stitch. So for each row, you're just going to repeat the same pattern. So you're always going to start with a single crochet, and you'll always finish with a single crochet. So to work on the next row, we are going to start working into, it's going to be that space there that you see. So that first, so we're actually still skipping a stitch, but we're going to work into that that next V and into that little space there. So as you see, you can kind of pull it apart and you see the spaces in between, but we want to go into that first spot. And we're just going to continue, oh, not even in the, we're just going to continue to work on the bean stitch into the next one. You always chain one after, and then so see, now we're going to work into that next big space that we see there. And that's essentially what you'll do for each row. And then just keep in mind that you'll start with a single crochet and you'll finish with a single crochet. So this pattern does use up a lot of yarn because of the cluster there. But I do like the texture that it's creating, and it works up fairly quickly for the face scrubbies that I'm making right now. So I'm gonna do like sets of, I think, 10, maybe 8. I'm not sure, I haven't decided how many to put into my sets just yet. Okay, so we're at the end here. So this is going to be our last bean stitch in that last space, and then we will finish off with a single crochet in that very last stitch. Whoops, it's a little tight. There we go. And then again, we'll chain one and always start with your first single crochet and then move into that space, and you're going to end up with this neat little texture. Here, I'll show you a completed yellow one. Isn't that neat? I think that's really cool. I think that'll be good with the texture too to use for face scrubbies. So yeah, I've made quite a few here with different colors. So I'm just trying to go ahead and make a bunch of them up so that I can lot them together. And yeah, I think they will look really neat. I just like the texture, the pattern that it creates for sure. But yeah, so I hope you have enjoyed this stitch tutorial, the bean stitch. And I will see you guys again soon for my next video tutorial. Bye everyone.